tank. He good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. He has a great chin too, because he's got, he'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you. And then
One
once
of the best
he
switch
hits
hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler. Hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler. And one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He's one of my favorite boxers. He's able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was left speechless after witnessing Terence Crawford's intense training for the upcoming Canelo fight. Having faced him in the ring, Spence already knew Crawford's ring IQ and skill level were elite, but this was something else entirely. Watching Crawford train, Spence was blown away by the speed, precision, and surgical footwork on display. Crawford looked like a beast in motion, sharp, explosive, and locked in. According to Spence, this version of Crawford is a whole new level of danger, one Canelo would be foolish to underestimate. When Terence Crawford reflected on his battle with Errol Spence, he made it clear that Spence hits hard. Crawford acknowledged Spence's power, describing it as heavy and grinding, not just one-shot knockout power, but the kind that breaks opponents down over time. He said every punch from Spence feels like it carries weight, especially to the body, and if you're not defensively sharp, that pressure adds up quickly. Crawford respected that aspect of Spence's game, noting that it's not just about how hard he hits, but how consistently he lands, like a machine coming forward. It's part of why Crawford stayed so disciplined in that fight, to neutralize that physicality with movement, timing, and precision. Bottom line, yes, Spence hits hard enough that even a fighter as elite as Crawford had to account for it every second of the fight.
He didn't hit that hard.
But he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
Given that everybody say, "Oh, he's a big puncher," I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think he has a one punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like boom, sleep. You know what I mean? I think it's like bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. Then he just wear you down.
Right. Yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him like knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything start weakening. And those little
Former world champion and boxing analyst Chris Algieri offered a sharp breakdown when comparing Terence Crawford to Canelo Álvarez. Algieri highlighted that Crawford has made a career out of dominating opponents with poise, precision, and total control, rarely, if ever, losing command of a fight. In contrast, Canelo, despite his legendary resume, has had moments where he was visibly outmatched, or, as insiders put it, bossed. Algieri pointed to Canelo's loss to Dmitry Bivol as a prime example. In that bout, Bivol's size, relentless jab, and disciplined game plan dictated the tempo and neutralized Canelo's usual advantages. The takeaway: Crawford, even as he moves up in weight, brings a style built on adaptability, control, and technical brilliance, all traits that have historically given Canelo real trouble. According to Algieri, this makes Crawford a uniquely dangerous opponent, no matter the size gap.
That night, when you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys. Number one, you can't boss me around. Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another. Crawford and Canelo Álvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford. Looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that. But I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare. Maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So if we can talk about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, but this guy's beating this. But, stylistic, even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you could talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? Yeah, that's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights. The Canelo fight weeks were great. Really, he plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Billy Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that he's got an extra chip.
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman offered a nuanced and balanced take on the potential clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Álvarez. While acknowledging that both fighters bring distinct advantages to the table, Kellerman gave a slight edge to Crawford. Especially when judging by recent performances and overall versatility, he emphasized that Crawford's timing, ability to seamlessly switch stances, and surging knockout power have reached a new level in recent years. In contrast, while Canelo remains a top-tier talent, Kellerman pointed out subtle signs of decline, particularly in his foot movement and offensive urgency. Still, Kellerman was clear not to discount Canelo's considerable size and strength, especially in close-range exchanges where physicality could play a major role. But when weighing the full arsenal, speed, precision, defense, and adaptability, Kellerman leaned toward Crawford as the more complete and currently sharper fighter.
But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. So you briefly mentioned Canelo's power. So who, I would assume Canelo has.
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is
The dynamics of this mega fight are undeniably compelling. Terence Crawford is stepping into uncharted waters by moving up to 168 pounds, a division where speed, stamina, and durability are tested at a whole new level. That kind of weight jump is no small leap, especially against someone as seasoned and strong as Canelo Álvarez. But while Canelo is clearly comfortable at 168 and brings serious power, body attack, and ring generalship at that weight, he's also not the same relentless powerhouse he once was. In recent fights, Canelo has leaned more toward calculated control than high-pressure offense. His movement has slowed, and the once frequent knockouts have become rarer. This evolution in Canelo's style creates a fascinating balance. Yes, Crawford is giving up size, but he may be gaining an edge in speed, sharpness, and adaptability. If Crawford brings his A-game, particularly his footwork, timing, and superior gas tank, there's a very real path to victory. He'll need to avoid Canelo's power pockets, frustrate him with angles, and control the pace. Bottom line, Canelo at 168 is still a dangerous, world-class opponent, but is not invincible. And Crawford, even as the smaller man, may have the sharper tools right now.
Obviously, at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class. And in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terence Crawford as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Álvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter.
Rising boxing star Abdullah Mason shared a bold take on the Crawford versus Canelo showdown, confidently predicting not just a Crawford win, but one that could shock the world. Mason pointed out a crucial factor often overlooked in the mainstream narrative: Crawford's power. While many assume Canelo holds the clear strength advantage due to his size and track record at 168, Mason offered a different angle. He believes Crawford's power doesn't come from brute force alone, but from impeccable timing, razor-sharp angles, and surgical precision. That kind of snap power, when perfectly timed, can be even more dangerous than raw strength. Mason emphasized that if Crawford can land clean shots consistently, especially as the fight wears on and Canelo slows, the outcome could flip expectations. For Mason, it's not just about surviving the weight jump, it's about Crawford using his superior tools to deliver a performance that stuns both fans and critics alike.
Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. I got faith in Crawford. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who.
Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo Álvarez one of his most decisive recent losses, has added his voice to the growing chorus backing Terence Crawford. Speaking from experience, Bivol offered high praise for Crawford, noting that the Omaha native has bulked up impressively and possesses the elite skill set required to pull off the upset. Bivol's endorsement carries serious weight, literally and figuratively. He knows firsthand what it takes to beat Canelo: discipline, ring control, and the ability to neutralize his strengths. According to Bivol, Crawford checks those boxes. He emphasized Crawford's sharp speed, tactical intelligence, and unwavering discipline as potential game changers in the ring. When a fighter of Bivol's caliber and credibility throws support behind someone moving up in weight to face a superstar like Canelo, it's a clear signal: this fight is no mismatch. In fact, it may be far more competitive and explosive than many expect.
I saw his big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win the fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with it. He needs to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's different. Yeah. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself the same day when he will fight. His training camp will go on. A lot of things, but he's able. He has good skills. He's awkward. He can use two boxing stands, which benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai before Christmas, and I saw him too. I thought exactly the same thing with what he impacted.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jamal Charlo, super welterweight, super middleweight, boxing level. Did a good work for Crawford is one of the best fighters in the world.
Keith Thurman provided a thoughtful and layered perspective on the Crawford versus Canelo clash. While the matchup might look like a 50-50 fight to the casual eye, Thurman emphasized that a closer technical breakdown exposes key imbalances that could shape the outcome. He specifically referenced Canelo's recent bout with Jermell Charlo, highlighting how Canelo struggled when Charlo finally began using smart movement and footwork. Despite being the aggressor, Canelo had difficulty cutting off the ring and landing clean when faced with calculated ring generalship. Thurman used this example to draw a compelling parallel. If Charlo, who isn't known for being as strategic or versatile as Crawford, was able to frustrate Canelo at times, then Crawford, with his superior ring IQ, timing, and adaptability, could pose an even greater threat. According to Thurman, Crawford's cerebral approach, combined with his ability to dictate pace and control distance, could neutralize Canelo's strengths and tilt the fight in Crawford's favor.